when I was putting my content ideas down, I realized, it dawned on me that I have not shared a breakfast recipe idea video for so long, which is crazy because I love a good breakfast. So I'm gonna be sharing 4 incredible breakfast ideas that you can definitely prep beforehand. They are ideal if you're on the go, but if you are at home and you cook them from home and you've got a little bit more time and you want to eat them from home, they're also perfect too. So we are going to be making the most golden, delicious banana teff waffles, which are just, yeah, they are everything. So I'm going to be sharing a smoked salmon breakfast box idea. We've got some seasonal squash in there, which is just like the best thing ever. So we've also got the ultimate warming winter breakfast, which is steel cut oats. We've got some spiced apple steel cut oats. My personal favorite for breakfast on the go are these mini frittatas, which are just, yeah, they are so good, so easy to make as well. 4 incredible breakfast ideas. Hopefully there will be at least one that you go away and you make or you recreate and you try out. If you do, let me know how it goes. Drop me a comment if you have anything to ask me. Please give this video a like to support my channel. Make sure you are subscribed and your notifications are switched on. Let's jump straight into the first breakfast on the go prep idea. Let's go. So the first breakfast idea are these mini frittatas. I am obsessed with frittatas, any type of frittata. I love mixing up the ingredients, just kind of using what I have on hand. I'm going to be adding some peppers and some kale to these frittatas, but yeah, make them your own, mix and match, do as you please. So to make these mini frittatas, I began by chopping up some white onion, some red pepper, and some yellow pepper, and I finally chopped up some kale. So I heated some coconut oil in a pan and I threw in the onions, followed on by the mixed peppers, and I began mixing everything on a medium heat. I threw in some cumin seeds and a little bit of smoked paprika. Again, the seasoning is just my preference. You can work with whatever seasonings you have, whatever seasonings you enjoy. I then placed in some sea salt and black pepper and continued mixing well. So once the onions and the peppers started to soften, I threw in the chopped kale and gave it a mix for about 3 to 4 minutes. So I grabbed my muffin tin and I greased each case just to make sure nothing sticks, and I placed in my onion, pepper and kale mixture. So I cracked my eggs into the mixing bowl, adding a little bit of sea salt and black pepper. So I poured the egg mixture in, making sure I left a tiny little gap at the top because you're going to see these muffins are going to rise quite a bit. So I placed the muffins into a preheated oven of 180 degrees and I left them in there for about 17 to 20 minutes. Just keep an eye on them. They're going to cook at different rates just depending on what size muffin tin you use. This is what they are going to be looking like. So yum. I also love adding pesto to frittatas. You have to try it. If you have any pesto on deck, add a little bit of pesto. It will just give it how delicious, how yummy. They're going to be perfectly golden on top and they're going to be soft and fluffy in the middle. So whether I am eating these mini frittatas on the go or I'm eating them at home, I love serving them with some type of green. So I serve them with some watercress, some cherry tomatoes and some avocado with a little bit of black pepper, a squeeze of lemon juice. So yum. So I wanted to share a warm idea with you. It's that time of the year, isn't it? And it is freezing, and taking a warm breakfast on the go is just like the best thing ever. So we are going to be making the most incredible spiced apple steel cut oats. So this recipe calls for apples, and apples are in season. So I'm like grabbing apples left, right and center. So many different varieties to choose from, and so yummy this time of the year. So the recipe also calls for some spices. So I'm going to be using some cinnamon, some nutmeg, a touch of ginger and a touch of clove. I'll also be using a touch of honey as a sweetener, and I'll be using some milk as well. And of course, we are going to be needing the star of the recipe, the steel cut oats, which I've been loving as of late. I love to soak my steel cut oats for as long as possible, to be honest. So sometimes I'll soak them overnight, sometimes for a little bit longer. I'll give them a good rinse, and then we're ready to work with them. So to prepare this recipe, I began by grating my apple. I love leaving the skin on. I actually prefer it with the skin on. It kind of adds a little texture to the steel cut oats. So I grated the apple and I grabbed my saucepan, placing in the soaked and rinsed steel cut oats. So we're going to swirl in our milk of choice and we're going to gently heat the pan, and then we're going to place in our spices, my favorite part. So we are going to place in a little bit of cinnamon powder. If you want to, if you like it, you can place in a little bit of clove. I know it's not for everybody. And a touch of ginger powder. Again, it's not for everyone. If you want to, you can. So if you enjoy nutmeg and you have some on hand, I would definitely recommend putting some in because it makes all the difference. So I grated in the nutmeg and I threw in a touch of honey. And then I threw in the grated apples, just mixing everything. I adjusted the thickness of the steel-cut oats by adding in a little bit more milk. So when I'm serving these spiced apple steel-cut oats at home, I love to top them with some stewed apples and some bee pollen, a little bit of yogurt. And this is how I like to do it at home. But if I'm making this recipe for on the go, then I will grab my flask and they will stay warm for a few hours and be so yum once I do eat them. So the next idea is this smoked salmon breakfast box. I love a little bit of smoked salmon every now and then for my breakfast or just different times of the day, to be honest, but this is going to be a breakfast idea and I'm going to show you what I love pairing it with. So you probably already know how much I adore squash, especially this time of the year when we have so many options for different types of squash, and I love delicata squash. It's really, really simple to work with. So I began by taking my delicata squash, chopping it in half and then scooping out the seeds. I chopped it into half moon shapes. I scattered over some sea salt, some black pepper, and I threw in a little bit of dried oregano. Again, you can season the squash up however you wish to, or you can keep it simple if that's what you'd prefer. So I swirled over a little bit of olive oil, making sure that the squash was covered well with all of the seasoning. And then I placed it onto a flat baking tray, placing it into an oven of about 200 degrees Celsius for around, I'd say about 15 minutes. This squash will cook quite fast. I removed the squash from the oven and I scattered over some kale, which had just been lightly kind of drizzled in a little bit of olive oil, placed the tray back into the oven and then left it in there for about 3 minutes till the kale was kind of crispy. I put 2 eggs to boil. So into my food container, I placed in the roasted delicata squash and that roasted kale, followed on by some smoked salmon and my in between soft and hard-boiled egg. I placed a little bit of this everything but the bagel seasoning on top of my boiled eggs, and I love this seasoning. We don't have it here in the UK. It is only available in America, I believe, but I got to try some last month and I've been just totally in love with it. Prepping like a huge tray of roasted vegetables beforehand will definitely save you time when it comes to an idea like this. I just think all these ingredients work really well, and this type of breakfast really sustains my energy throughout the day. The last recipe that I'm going to be sharing with you guys are these banana teff waffles, and let me tell you, I'm lost for words. They are seriously so good. Again, you can take them on the go with you, you can eat them at home, you can enjoy them whatever way you want to. The main ingredients for this recipe include teff flour, an egg, a ripe banana, and some milk of your choice. So to make these waffles, I began by mashing up the banana, mashing it really, really well. So I grabbed a large mixing bowl and I placed in the teff flour, followed on by a pinch of salt, and I placed in the milk of my choice, which was actually oat milk. I currently have the most delicious vanilla powder, so I thought that would be a nice addition. So I added a little bit of that in and I gave everything a good whisk. So I whisked everything until smooth, and then in a separate bowl I whisked an egg and I threw that egg into the large mixing bowl, followed on by the mashed banana. The next step is totally optional, but I threw in a tiny touch of honey just for a little extra sweetness. And then I whisked away until smooth, and I put my waffle iron on because we're gonna get this heated for these waffles. Once the waffle iron was heated, I placed in a little touch of coconut oil. That is because I just don't like dry ashy waffles. I can't do it. But if you don't want to add coconut oil, then you don't have to. So I swirled over that waffle mixture and I closed that waffle iron until the waffle was cooked and it was golden and it was looking delicious and it was ready to eat. So for my banana teff waffles on the go, I placed on top a few blueberries, a little drizzle of honey, and then I placed my divider in and put a little bit of yogurt on the side, topped with some hemp seeds. So even though I'm more of a savory breakfast type person, I do love a little waffle or pancake every now and then, and this recipe is the one. So there we have it, 4 incredible breakfast ideas to choose from. I know there will be at least one that you will be able to try out, and if you do, let me know how it goes in the comment section below. Ask me anything if you have any questions in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. See you all soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.